I wanted to clear and make sure that we were going to talk about something. And since we were in the beginning, I was like, fuck it, just shut it off.
No, it makes total sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, this is a weekly recap. However, it's more like a monthly recap because we haven't recorded a PS since the beginning of May. And a lot of shit has happened since the beginning of May for fucking sure.
So much has happened.
We recorded right after you got back from New York.
Yeah. I was going to say, because I feel like I did a breakdown of it.
Yeah, because we talked about you not taking your Xanax.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it was like either a few days after or like a week after.
That feels
like 100 years ago.
Literally so long ago.
Yeah. Yes, it does.
Oh man.
Isn't it weird how time can feel like simultaneously like it's flying by, but also that it's taking 362 years for a week to end?
Yes. And do you want to know my disgusting thoughts? I literally was out in the pool and I was like, I can't wait until fall. And I was like, what? I was like, Mari, what is, and I was like, oh, like all the feel goods of Christmas. And I was like, shut the fuck up. Like,
you should be slapped for that. Summer just almost started.
Stephanie, I almost slapped myself. Like, I was like, what, like, look, I feel so tan right now. And my hair is not done, but I feel tan. So I just feel like I'm like, yes.
Like the world is better. Yeah.
Yeah. Like everything's okay.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about when we take the pool down, we're going to have the sand pit basically in the center, and we're going to turn it into a fire pit for like the transition. And I was like, I can't wait for that. And then I was like,
stop trying to wish away the 3 months where we have to be a normal human being.
The 4 seconds we get some sunshine.
Where we feel like we're alive again.
Literally.
I don't think people who live in sunshine states really understand how good they have it until they come here and they're like, this is how you live all the time?
Just like the depression that hits. And like people are like, oh, I get the winter blues. I'm like, no, seasonal affective disorder is actually a real thing. Like we really do suffer from that. Mm-hmm. Especially then when you're just physically, your vitamin D levels dip. Mine were so low coming out of this one. I typically do not test them, but had all that health stuff going on. So went and got them tested and I'm in the red and I was like, what the fuck? Like it's so bad. And I mean, I think I'm a pretty mentally resilient person, but there are a couple of weeks there that I was like, I don't want to do this, dude. Sorry guys. This is also early in the morning. We're recording and they're not going to see it. I have had a sip. Oh, I put little chunks of it on there.
Oh, do you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know that you did.
Yeah. I put little chunks of it on there. Mm-hmm. So that it maybe entices people to come subscribe.
I've had 0 caffeine, so
we talk about great things. Yeah, that's shocking to me. Why?
Because I try to drink at least 64 ounces of water before I have caffeine.
Oh, that's so smart. Anyways.
Let me drink some water real quick. Sorry.
Excuse me, Mother Teresa. Well, aren't you?
Aren't you a healthy bitch?
I'm sorry, we can't be perfect. Like, yeah. Jim Carrey says that line, but it's like
it's in Liar Liar.
I'm sorry, Mr. Perfect.
Yes.
that audio is trending, and I was like, what is that? Anyways, so let's get into it, man. I really don't even feel like recapping a month. I'm gonna recap this past week because I feel like I was on a water slide. First of all, let's just talk about my melatonin dreams.
Dude, I've never not all. A lot of my clients are like, I can't take it. Like they're having lucid, horrifying dreams.
Bitch, when I tell you I've never, my imagination comes up with some pretty creepy stuff. Yeah. Like when I dream because, I don't know. That's why I don't watch horror things, because if my dreams are like that without watching horror things, like, what is that really going to be like? Bitch, I woke up yesterday. I had a dream that I was getting, it's so fucked up. I was getting away from someone, me and a team of people were running away from somebody. And to get away from them, we had to go in this water slide, but it was kind of like a water slide house. So it was really big and open. And when I tell you, I'm so upset that the music that was playing, I don't know what it was, but when I tell you I'd fucking rage to that music, it was so good. It was deep house, techno. It was so good. So on this, and it's like conveyor belts and stuff. And then we get to the next part where they have to like open this gate and you have to go in and it's a body slide. And I'm like, you have to go in head first. And I'm like, well, is there space in there to turn around to go feet first? When I got into it, it was like, you know, like the finger traps that like
the Chinese finger traps. Yeah.
Yeah, bitch. That's what it was. And thank God I woke up before I like went into and like went down. Like it like sucked me, and it was the most terrifying thing in the whole entire world. I woke up like, what was it? It was terrifying. It was terrifying. So I was like, okay. So that alone, that's where we are ending the week. This week was, I had heavy sessions with clients, like heavy moments with clients, all while still trying to like, it was a very heavy week personally. Like it just like figuring out that the job isn't going to work, the over the road job for Jeff isn't going to work. And like feeling like we had all of that. It's 16 months of doing nothing, finally found something, and it's not.
I don't know how anybody continues to work that job based on what you told me. How do people make a living?
Like, I don't either, because all the people his connects that he has that are out there, like all, like the one guy who almost was upside down and like was upside down on his payments for his truck and like had to like sign on with another person. And that, I mean, it's like these people who are out there making it profitable are like running to like Texas, to Oregon,
like
to
across the country.
Yeah. And we're just not willing to do that. But even then, like when he was looking at some of the routes that were like going down to Florida or whatever, like one of the routes paid $2,500, but like the mileage and the gas to get down there, I mean, at least $1,000 in gas, and if you don't have anything to bring you back up, then you're making absolutely no profit on that. So finding that out. So, and then it was like, do we stay in this industry? Do you go to a truck driver or a company driver? Do you do like,
what does he want? Does he know?
No, he like, we really don't have the answers. Like he doesn't want to really go back to intermodal, but, which is, picking up at the rail yards and then bringing, like distributing it out places. I know that you know that, but people who are listening, because I had no idea what intermodal was. I was like, okay, you're a truck driver, like, so he doesn't really want to go back to that, but will. And then like we were looking at a couple of other positions. One was with Penske, picking up at Aldi's distribution center in like by Yogi Bear, and then distributing to wherever. It's a night shift job.
Okay.
Friday through Monday. Yeah.
Ew.
Every weekend. And I was like, and it pays $2,000 a week. So it was like, oh, and you don't use your own truck. You don't, like, you work for them. And so nobody's there. So it's like, yeah, that'd be really nice. But then it's like we would never see each other. Like that would be feasible and great for people who don't want to pay daycare for their kids. And like,
you're coughing right into your mic.
Oh my God. Sorry. I forget where it is. I'm not awake right now. Even though I woke up over an hour ago. I'm just not. I literally almost went on the walk to because I told Toph we'd walk to Wilson's, which is a coffee shop by us. I told her we would do it, and I was like, oh my God, I have to record today. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Anyways, at least I wasn't like dressed and like ready to go. I'm still in my pajamas. But so yeah, so there's that job, which is not going to work, because what I'm not going to do at 36 years young in life is sacrifice our relationship just to be able to make money. And we're not doing that. So there was a UNFI one, but that was even worse pay and worse schedule. The schedule's terrible.
Is he absolutely not willing to go back to where he was when you met him?
No, he's not. No, because he asked them about that. So that's on the table right now.
Okay.
And that's it's when they're talking about the price for that, I'm like, it is so, it's going from being at the top of the tree, picking whatever apple you wanted to have, to now picking off the floor and the rotten fruit with like worms in it. It's like, a very humbling experience. And it's through no fault of our own or his own. It just happened. It was a perfect storm of his truck going down and things like that. So I think we're trying to humble ourselves in that aspect, but also like, okay, but we do have to make an affordable living to pay the bills that we have to pay. Like the truck doesn't stop needing to be paid for. Like these things don't, like, it's not like, well, once you stop using it, then you don't have to pay for it. I mean, granted, a fuck ton of overhead goes away, right? Like gas and state taxes and plate taxes and IFTA taxes and the tolls, and like the tolls for him going through Ohio, every toll is $17. Every toll in Ohio, because of the weights that he's carrying and stuff like that. $17.
Indiana tolls are also trash for regular cars. I can't imagine what they are for him.
I'm like, what are we doing? What? I thought Illinois was bad.
No.
I remember the one in Baltimore when we were going to Firefly was astronomical. I remember us getting the bill. It was like $30. We were like, what the fuck? We went through one toll. It was whatever. Oh, God. I'm like, anyways, so that, like, having that like in the back of my mind while talking to people throughout the week, and I please hear me when I say this, people, everybody's feelings are valid and everybody's struggles are real to their own. I am a therapist, but I am still a human, and I do get into some negative comparison cycles of like, this, like what we're talking about isn't a problem right now, like in my mind. And I'm like trying to actively challenge that and like get out of it, and not think or apply my struggles to what people are going through. But man, dude, it is so hard sometimes. It is so hard to be like, people are like, well, this is going to happen. I'm like, yeah, my partner hasn't worked for fucking over almost a year and a half now. Basically, yeah. Almost a year and a half. We're a month away from a year and a half. So I totally fucking get it. Like, it just is like, it's so hard to get out of those thoughts sometimes. It really is.
That happened to me the other day when I had a client. And again, I'm not dismissing her feelings, but she was talking about she had to euthanize her rat that she's had for like 6 months. And I was like, I had to euthanize my dog who was almost 14. So like, again, I'm not comparing it, but I'm also like, it's hard for me to understand that sometimes.
It makes it hard to show. Sorry, I have to plug this in. It makes it hard to show up sometimes like that. It really does, because it's like I do know that this is important to somebody. I do know that what they are going through is a very real thing that they are experiencing, and it's like I feel like therapists get stuck between this like catch-22 of like, if I don't know how things are going to affect me. I could be fine one day and then the next day be like, fuck. And then, but like, am I supposed to cancel all of my clients then? Am I supposed to cancel all of you when you're like counting on me and expecting me to be there? Or do I just kind of like work through these thoughts and just kind of have these thoughts and, swallow my fucking feelings and emotions for that moment, and then until it's time to go home and deal with them? Because it's
the same thing with sometimes work is a distraction for me. Like I worked the day that I put Rocky down, because if I didn't, I would have just been at home sobbing all morning, and I was like, that's not productive for me, and I can't afford to do that. So it was a welcome distraction, because I didn't have to just think about that. As soon as the workday was over, I was like, well, here we go, like now it's time. You know what I mean? Where there's other days though where I am distracted at work, and it takes a lot for me to not be distracted at work. And that's just an honest experience that I have, and I'm not going to apologize for it. It is what it is.
No, it's me being, I'm having a human experience as a soul on this planet. There are things that I cannot change or do about that. Yeah, it was a wild week, dude. A wild week.
That's why when you would say like, I'm not even stressed out, I'm like, well, I mean let's talk about it for a second.
Well, and I need that reminder too, right? Like of thinking like, like, because I do get in those, there have been many periods of my life where I have had to put my head down and grind.
Of course.
And I am very good at that. I am very good at understanding that, like, I view it like being a mule in the field. Like, You just got to keep plowing. You just got to keep doing it. And there's nobody's coming to save you. No one's coming to rescue you. No one's going to do it. So I've got to. There's no other option. It's happened many times with financial struggles. It's happened with my divorce. It's happened while I was married, him deploying two times, and then the divorce. And like, there have been many moments where fucking having to have a full-time job, raising a child, going to grad school part-time, of like, it's just those moments of there's no other option.